All right, everyone. Welcome to my first interview with Coach Michael Burt. I have watched him present when I was in the audience, and I was like, wow, this guy is legit. The first time I saw you, Coach, was at a Churchill event that I was speaking at, and you spoke, and I just remember going, I never actually heard a coach like you in business, kind of bringing college level athletic energy and vibe to a business environment. So it's good to interview you for the first time here.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that time we were at a retreat site somewhere. They used to do those retreats out there in really cool places. And I remember being there. And so it's good to be with you, man.
Yeah, it's good to be with you. And it's just a perfect time to talk about pre-drive prospecting. We're doing this conversation on Labor Day. What is it? The 4th of September, 2023. And it is not just another year in the mortgage business. There's been some fundamentals that have, really changed the playing field for lenders and realtors going forward. The industry has never dealt with a market with this type of inventory crisis. And 63% of every mortgage in America is at 2 or 3%. And they're never going down that low again. At best, they get to 4.5. So there's a different playing field. And then it's just a tough market. Rates are, above 7% right now. Let's just say confidence, if there was a confidence meter in the mortgage industry, it's low. Are there people having success in this market? Absolutely. But are there a lot more people not having success? Absolutely. So Coach, why don't you jump in, because this is the first time, just give us, a minute or two on your backstory, and then let's talk about pre-drive prospecting.
Well, backstory is spent, 13 years as a basketball coach with a deep fascination with how to engineer people, what I call build competitive intelligence in people. I studied under Covey from 18 to 25, which gave me a lot of breadth and depth of inner engineering, body, mind, heart, and spirit. I was using a lot of unorthodox methods with my players, and that quickly got the attention of people. When we got results, they began asking what I was doing. And it was so frequent that I finally just sat down and wrote what would be the first of now 19 books about my methods. And that unintended consequence, Dave, got mortgage companies calling me and insurance companies calling me and real estate companies calling me and saying, will you come over and motivate our people because of this? So I actually started my coaching business at 31 years old when I retired from athletics in the middle of the 08 recession, March of 08. Okay. And a lot of people don't know that. How I ended up in the real estate business coaching mortgage companies is that's when I started the business, was in March of 08. Two biggest home builders in the country hired me, the biggest home builder in Tennessee, the biggest home builder in North Carolina. And I was able to help them just keep that pre-drive activated during a really rough time of selling houses. And from that point forward, we picked up almost every major real estate company, a lot of top mortgage companies. So we probably worked with, I'm going to guess at least, I was counting the other day, I'm going to say 50 to 75 mortgage companies over the last 15 to 20 years.
Well, hopefully you'll work for more, and I would love to see you on more stages. I love that Stephen Covey backstory and the 7 habits of highly effective people. I do think this is a season, there's a profit crisis going on in the mortgage industry right now. The MBA figures came out the other day, and first quarter of 2023, the industry was losing about $2,000 per loan, which was about 65 basis points. And they've narrowed it down to about 517 basis points. But the bottom line is the industry is still losing money. And that's not a sustainable way to conduct an industry or a business. And so I think the answer is in highly effective. Like, how can we get loan officers in front of loan manufacturing to be better salespeople, deliver better advice? And so I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts on that. Hey, before we jump into that, Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes had a pretty big weekend. And I don't know about you, I am a fan of Deion. To me, this is a real world example, like right now, of just how much a coach matters. Any thoughts on the Deion Sanders, Buffalo story?
Well, I think in the sports world, Dave, we can see how a coach can make a significant impact in a very quick way. I mean, we could go back and give example after example of a program that was maybe underperforming, and they bring in a new coach who brings in a new confidence, who brings in a new structure, who brings in a new mindset. But more than anything, a more confidence in Deion Sanders' case. I'm a big student of coaches. So people always ask me, like, what are your favorite teams? Really, I pick my favorite coaches, and that's how I pick my favorite teams. So I'm a big fan of the consistency of the Sabans of the world. I did a lot of work with Elko, who was Saban's psychologist at Alabama. But I like Deion Sanders' confidence. He's got a deep faith about him. Had this conversation last night with my best friend, who's a real estate agent. He asked me, how does his faith play into that? You know, I mean, to me, he's got a deep confidence about him, and that confidence is transferred to his players. Now, in the mortgage world, that would be the leader to the players, right? To the mortgage originators, to the confidence. And, you know, when I think about what's going on in the world, I equate this to when I was a basketball coach, and maybe the competition was better than we were. Maybe we didn't have the players in a season that we did before. How did we win games in seasons where maybe it was a little stacked against us? And what we did is we increased our practice. We increased our effectiveness. We cut down our margin of error. I'm a big probability guy. Okay. I believe in Newton's law, objects at rest stay at rest unless acted on by an outside force. I believe in laws of physics. So I look at selling like probability. There are specific things I can do to decrease my margin of error. There are specific things I can do to increase my probability of winning. And when times are tough, it's like a sports team that's trying to win. We increase our action levels, not decrease our action levels. And so I think that's always been my message. No matter what the external environment is doing, what the economy is doing, we can increase the probability by taking more action.
Yeah, no doubt. A couple last thoughts before we move off Deion Sanders. And anyone listening to this, I would love to know your thoughts. Like, what do you think it is? I mean, clearly he's a compelling, confident, inspirational leader. I mean, that is just super obvious. But you know, he's super creative, you know, and bold. You know, he doesn't have team captains, he has leaders and dogs. You know, like, he is building his culture his way in a very bold way. There was a lot of criticism with the amount of turnover that he had in the team. But I have to imagine he was trying to build a culture around standards, and whether players left because they self-selected or whether he made the tough decisions to bring in the people he thought would best suit that. There's just a lot of things he's doing that I think apply to every mortgage company. I want to leave people with this thought right now, and we're going to get into pray, drive, prospecting, find out what that is. But every branch manager right now, guys, if we're going to create a profitable, sustainable branch, every regional leader, if you're going to create a profitable, sustainable region, you need to elevate the standards of how loan officers take loans. Now I believe advice, you know, versus price. By the way, not advice versus price, advice with price. Like, you need to transform your loan officers into coaches and advisors, and how they serve a consumer at the point of sale. And so I just want to put a big push into the coaches out there. Every single branch tuned in this, you can turn it around. I mean, you could be the Deion Sanders and really turn around your branch. If you're doing well, you can elevate it. It just requires standards, coaching, activity, and a clear transformational vision of what you're trying to do. You know, if you're just, hey, we're in the loan business, that is not probably going to get you to the next level. Any closing thoughts, or not closing, but thoughts around that before we move on to pray, drive, prospecting?
Well, for all the leaders out there, I think there's 4 things when building culture, right? There's identity. How do we see ourselves? See, I took over a team that hadn't won in 30 years at the level I wanted to win. I started with identity. We see ourselves as the best, our self-talk. Okay. And that's a big thing. Like, how do we see ourselves? We're the best at what we do. We do this because of this. We prospect every day. We follow up every day. We engage with our clients every day because that's what the best people in the world do. Then I moved to standards. We need to raise them, not lower them. Okay. We raise our standards. We have incredibly high standards of ourselves and of each other. Then we moved to language. Pray Drive, we'll get into today, is a language of action. Okay. And coaches are great at having this language. Dion has his language. He has a certain language he uses, like we keep receipts. You know, he has a language he uses. And then I look at accountability. You know, those are the four things when building a great culture for the leaders. And many times if I tell a mortgage person that, they could say, man, we've lost our identity, or we don't have standards like we need to, or we need more language. We need more. And that's really the sports in me, is that's how we built championship teams, was with these four cornerstones of what a great culture really is.
Love the four things to build culture. I push everyone listening to this right now, watching this, you know, journal on that right now. I just put this on pause, write down those four things: identity, standards, language, accountability, and just kind of audit your branch, your region, your family. You know, we call ourselves the core four. You know, my wife, my son, and my daughter, core four. And there's just a power in that when you get a common language around who you are as a family, around who you are as a branch. So cool. Well, let's get into Pray Drive prospecting. So first of all, as a coach and a mentor to a lot of mortgage industries or a lot of mortgage companies, I'm sure you're also touching real estate companies. You know, what is Pray Drive? And then what is Pray Drive prospecting to you?
Prey drive is prevalent in an animal. It's the animal's ability to stalk, capture, and kill prey. Okay. Prey drive in a human is the human's instinctual ability to see something with the eyes or in the mind. That would be the imagination, and to have the persistence and intensity to pursue it. So what, 41, 42 years old, I hear a former Vietnam veteran that was in the War Dog division of the Vietnam War talk about his role every morning and going how to head of the infantry with a dog. And the dog's job was to sniff out bombs, booby traps, ambushes. And he kept talking about the dog having a prey drive. And that was a new word to me. It was two new words to me. So I'm like, what is he talking about? So I Google it and I see animals' instinct to stalk, capture, and kill prey. I have a big revelation that day. I was with my wife at the workshop and I said, humans have a prey drive. It is their instinct to see something and pursue it. But that prey drive has to be activated. There has to be a persistence to it. There must be an intensity to it. So really, I kind of became fascinated with this, Dave. Over the next 2 to 3 years, I deconstructed the top 20 motivational theories. I codified those theories. I really came out with my own theory, which would be theory 21, that humans have a prey drive and that prey drive must be activated. So spent about 2 or 3 years deconstructing the concept, and then wrote a book that became a Wall Street Journal bestseller called Flip the Switch. And that is prey drive. Oh, I can't hear you now. I could hear you, but I lost you there. There we go. Oh, I still can't hear you there. Still seeing you muted.
Sorry about there we go. I remember the first time I heard you talk about Pray Drive. And again, my last name's Savage. And I've always I was just like, yes, love that.
Yeah.
I would love right now if we had a live, you know, community. I like, who loves that at a level 5? Who only loves that at a level 1? Or you're like, oh, I don't know if I like Pray Drive. I love it, Coach. So let's take that and get around prospecting, because we're in a market right now where I say there's two standards every successful mortgage professional needs to have right now. First of all, you need to be a level 5 prospector. You know, when I interviewed Shop Benushi, the #1 loan officer in America, in May, he told me he had already talked to more realtors face-to-face, whether it was lunch and learns, in-person meetings, by the month of May than any year in his history. So he clearly like level 5 prospecting. And then you need to be a level 5 advisor. You need to be able to help people get to their needs and get solutions to their problems. You know, how can they build wealth with real estate in a market like this? Realtors, how can realtors get listings and sell homes in a market like this? So how would you describe pre-drive prospecting, and what are some of the standards that you bring to your clients and people you
Well,
coach?
there's a couple principles that I talk about in the book, and they've kind of become norms for me and my company and what I project to people, which is we go to bed tired and we wake up hungry. It all goes to zero at midnight. All right. There comes a time when winter asks what we did all spring and summer. It's going to be a fight, but we're going to find a way to win. And then once we get that mindset of, hey, man, it all goes to zero at midnight, let's go into battle every single day. Right. And I always say King David was a great king in the Bible until he decided to not go into battle. So prospecting is getting your mind ready for what your body is about to do. And it's based on principles, right? Money follows energy. Money follows movement. Money follows circulation. Money follows activity. So we should be initiating more. I typically initiate about 35 to 45 touches a day. That's a standard in our company. And what we're trying to do is really initiate. We're trying to connect with people. We're trying to locate their ambition to make it about them. We're trying to explain our value, and we're trying to invite them to take an action, and then many times qualify their commitment level. What I found during this period of coaching a lot of mortgage originators is that psychologists tell us under pressure, we fight, we come out swinging, which is pre-drive. We freeze, we flee. But the third one they're saying is a lot of people is they freeze, which is under pressure, they do nothing. Now, let's go back to that probability. We're not going to increase the probability of making a sale by doing nothing. We're not going to increase the probability of making a sale by contracting. So what we really need to be doing is expanding. Under fear, we need to expand. So prospecting is the act of outbound initiating to locate dreams and ambitions and define problems and to explain value. And my minimum standard is a minimum of 35 to 45 touches a day.
Got it. So that is the number, 30 to 45 touches a day. What's a touch? Is that a call? Is that an email? Is that a text? You know, what is a touch?
It's really a high value activity. Email, not so much, but it is an outbound effort to tag someone, touch someone. For example, this morning, I was sending voice text. So I use video a lot. I use voice text a lot, phone call a lot. So if I call people and they don't answer, I then text them a voice text. I then call them back later in the day. Hey, I missed you today. You know, I believe in contact. This is a full contact sport. Money follows energy. See, when we wake up every day, we're trying to get to a certain number every single day because we started at zero, and we're trying to drive up the probability. So when you're thinking about sales, there's two things I look at. There's an attitudinal problem with a lot of people about how they approach selling and prospecting. Attitude is a posture of the body represented by physical state. Like, I don't want to prospect. I don't feel like prospecting. So there's an attitudinal side to this. And then there's an actual skill side to this. How good are you at getting people on the phone? How good are you at locating their ambitions? How good are you at staying in top of people's minds? See, I buy a lot of real estate, and I'm working on a deal right now, Dave, that's a $5.75 million deal, 7% interest rates, 20% down. But I would be able to sell my current house, walk away with about 2.7 million with that, pay off a line of credit, get a new house, and then walk away with almost $1 million in the bank, even with the rates we currently have. Everybody see that? Now, what if I told you I had to call and text 4 times to the loan originator working on this deal to run numbers, to follow up with me, to keep it going, to send me the payments? I'm actually leading the deal with the real estate agent and the mortgage originator. I'm like, guys, this is a big deal. We should be like, you should have more pre-drive here. Like, you should be in my face every day until we get this deal closed. And the word close means to bring something to an end. So I call that the red zone, Dave. The red zone I learned from Hugh Freeze, head coach at Auburn. I asked him one day, we were doing an event together, where he was the best in the world. And he said, there's nobody better at scoring in the red zone than me in college football. And I go, now that's interesting. I started calling people who were close to making a buying decision the red zone. So see, right now I'm in that mortgage originator's red zone. He should be following up with me until he gets me all the information I need to make a decision, which means to cut something away, decide, kill something off. That is pre-drive.
You know, it's interesting you called that out. interviewed Michelle Castle, who is the head coach at Guild. So, very, successful, large company. She's closed 21 loans a month. This will be her second month where she closed 21 loans. And I interviewed her, like, how is Michelle Castle? And remember, guys, she's closing that many loans and she's the head coach, for the top coaches at Guild. And it was all about follow up. She's just like, I just follow up. Like once, I get someone and I just thought about it, like the red zone equals follow up. Like, hey, we got a prospect, but like part of Pray Drive prospecting, it's that honey badger. Like once you got them. So what would you called out 30 to 45 touches per day. How would you describe Pray Drive follow up? Like what are some standards?
And I'll combine this with a book I wrote called $1 Million Follow-Up. And I wrote that book out of.
You got a book on $1 Million Follow-Up? Come on now.
$1 Million Follow-Up.
That was a layup for you.
I wrote that book because I kept asking this question. Do people not know how to follow up? And the truth is, very few companies teach proper follow-up. The purpose of the follow-up is to help a person make a decision. It's to give them information. It's to help them kill off their fear. It's to rekindle an initial attraction. See, if you understand the purpose of the follow, it's not to check in. It's not to see if they have any questions. It's not to say, I was thinking about you today. See, they're thinking about making a decision and they actually need information and coaching to make that decision. What are they killing off? Fear, insecurity, doubt. So right now, if let's just put that deal to what I'm doing, if I were my agent, I would have him to keep me focused on the profit I'm going to make, the brand new house I'm going to get, the fact that my wife can design the house, that I'm right. I would teach him to keep me focused on the positives of this deal in his follow-up. Hey, I've ran the numbers. Hey, I'm talking to your accountant. Hey, I'm working with your mortgage originator. Keep the deal going in a forward posture. Okay. And 7 touches is what we believe in, 7 to 15 touches, but it's a touch of value. So this is where I would bring in boxing. I jab with value. I jab with value. I jab with value. And then I ask. Okay. So give, ask. Okay. That's really what the follow-up is about. Hey, I'm working on this deal. I'll put the numbers together. I want to send them to you for you to look at. Hey, I'm going to talk to your accountant today, see how she feels about this deal. Hey, would you like to 1031 exchange this? I'm working on, see, to keep the deal in a forward position. That's what follow-up is. But Dave, I find that a lot of people just either they don't know how to follow up correctly or they do not go the distance. I actually saw a stat that said most people in the mortgage and real estate industry follow up 1.8 times. And I'm not saying that's an accurate statement, but I would say that it's pretty close. 1.8 to a couple times, and then they're out of the game.
Yeah. So one, they don't follow up enough. 2, the follow-up is very transactional. And I think part of what the problem is they don't know how to give value beyond the transaction. And so if all you're doing is calling the person up on transactional details over and over and over, that's not exciting. I love something that you said, he should be keeping me focused on the profit. And that's one of the things going forward in the mortgage industry is that we need to really help consumers understand, despite the fact that their rates are high and they're getting a high rate, what's that going to do to your net worth in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? And part of that value could be, I'm thinking of all the pre-quals that people have, with houses that they don't have an escrow. Someone's approved, they can buy a home, but it's hard to find the home they want to buy. So there's a long period of time. You could be reminding folks around the life transformational value of finding that right home so that they stay in the process. And then when it comes time, like, hey, there's a house, they want it, they're willing to make the offer they need to make to win the deal. Because that's another thing I'm hearing, that when houses are priced right in this market, in a lot of markets, it's competitive. There's multiple offers coming in on the best homes.
Yep. Well, keeping people focused on the positives, because there are negatives. See, it'd be easy for me to focus on the rate. That's a thing that we'd say is a negative. But actually, if you put it on paper, there's a lot of positives to this deal. And that's what I would constantly be focused on, is the positives. New home, profit in the bank, wife gets to design the house, bigger yard where the kids can play in. See, to me, it's like when you put it on paper, then it's like, well, yes, your payment is going to be here, but you also got almost $1 million in your bank account that you didn't have. And it may be the easiest money you ever make. So to me, the follow-up is prey drive. See, prey drive is prevalent in that animal. The animal is pursuing the prey. Think of a hunting dog. It's most excited when it knows it gets to go hunting. So it's really the pursuit. We almost call the book The Chase, or the pursuit. That is actually what activates the drive. It's like, man, I'm going into battle. It's going to be fun. Now, I wrote down when you were talking a minute ago, we teach all of our students 2 cycles. One is called the sewer cycle, and one is called the success cycle. The sewer cycle starts with one negative thought. This is going to be hard. Rates are high. I can't stand the Fed, whatever you do. That one negative thought leads to negative subconscious emotion, fear, worry, doubt, insecurity. Now that constricts the body. See, I was a coach, and when players were real tight, they couldn't score, they couldn't shoot. And it's okay. Now, what does that lead to? Low or negative performance. So I tell people, don't go to the sewer cycle. The success cycle starts with the positive thought. It's going to be a great day. We're going to sell some mortgage. I'm going to get to 21 again this month. People are out there buying. There's an abundance of money everywhere. Like, this is going to be awesome, right? This is how I go into a speaking engagement, because I'm doing Supreme this Thursday in Dallas as a keynote speaker. And I go into these going, man, these people are going to love this. They're going to like this little bald-headed dude. They're going to love this little bald-headed pit bull, right? I'm intense and I'm positive. There's going to be new clients in there. They're going to want me to come back. See, I start with a positive thought, which leads to positive subconscious emotion, excitement, enthusiasm, energy. That leads to looseness in the body. Like, selling is not hard. It's fun. Like, you're a fun dude. When I spent time with you out there, I'm like, man, I love this dude. He's upbeat. He's fun. He did scare me a little bit in his Tesla, but he's like, this is a fun dude. It's not complicated. He brings a lot of good energy. Okay. That's how people should think about selling. Like, I'm going to the success cycle today. We've even taught our 10-year-old daughter this. When we go negative, she'll say, Daddy, we don't go to the sewer cycle. We live in the success cycle. So that is the success cycle, which produces positive result. This is something mortgage people need to hear over and over and over, because it's so easy to go to the sewer cycle.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And this is a good segue to kind of like, we don't have to close yet, but like a closing topic, which is the identity. When I really transformed my success into a mortgage professional, I had this tagline, my advice makes a difference. And I invented MortgageCoach as a tool to help my advice make a difference. And then as the CEO of MortgageCoach, before I sold it and became, part of Trust Engine, it was, I want to transform how people get into debt and really help people achieve financial freedom. Like, hey, people don't get loans because they want loans. They get it because they want homes. And owning a home is only part of the American dream. Home ownership with financial freedom is, everyone's American dream. And I don't think there's enough mortgage professionals that see themselves as that, financial freedom lender. It's a hashtag we use a lot, financial freedom lending. What are your thoughts on, if someone's listening to this, they still have that transactional mortgage professional view of themselves, and we want to get them to see themselves transformational as this financial freedom not loan officer, advisor? What would be a process? What would be some coaching you'd give them to, get a better identity of themselves?
Well, let's start with what the word transaction means, which means to discard. A transaction, I can discard you. So Dave, I used you for the mortgage, right? I no longer need you. See, you don't want to think like that. I call my mortgage originator, Dave, for everything. When I'm doing a deal, he's breaking down numbers for me, debt reduction strategies, like he is my go-to guy. He's actually the first phone call I make before I buy or sell anything. What do you think about this deal? How do you think the numbers look? Would you do it? What's the pros and cons? See, to me, that is transformation. So transformation is, I'm confused, randomness in motion, and you walk into my life and transform my thoughts. I came to you lacking clarity, I leave you with clarity. And because of that, you are incredibly valuable to me. I refer you to other people. I talk about you. See, there's not a week that goes by that I don't talk to my real estate agent. I don't talk to my accountant, and I don't talk to my mortgage originator. See, that is transformation. Now, what does that result in? Probably 20 referrals a year to each one of them from me. Transformational leadership. So you don't want to be seen as a transaction. I used you. Now I don't need you anymore. I'll call you the next time I buy a house. Okay. And that may be average American buys what, 4 to 7 houses in their lifetime. Each satisfied person could be worth 5 to 7 referrals over the lifetime of the consumer. 98% of people never follow up in a meaningful way after the transaction is over. That's transactional. Transformation is, I'm your guy, man. I want to be your guy forever. Okay. I'm going to be right there with you. Every time you make a big financial decision, I want to be right there with you. No different than your financial advisor, no different than your accountant, your dream team. I'm on the dream team with you.
Love that. So let's go to some closing thoughts. Yeah, I think we've had a great conversation. Well, wait, before we totally close out, I know you do a lot to help high school kids. Break that down, just because you and I talked about first home IQ, something I'm very passionate about. And I know more and more of our community are not only helping borrowers and helping realtors, but they're going out to high schools and colleges and bringing financial literacy through first home IQ to high schools and colleges. Any advice you have for, mortgage and real estate professionals that are really trying to give back at the younger kids, high school and colleges? Any advice you have?
Yeah, we're teaching, we have a concept called Success School where every kid actually gets a coach. They get weekly coaching via Zoom. They come and do live boot camps here at my lodge in Tennessee. We teach them the habits of the top 1% of performers: remarkable boldness, connection, intrinsic motivation, grit and resilience, and ability to lock in and see something through to its conclusion. So it's really been a very successful program. We coach 10 to 17-year-olds. We're coming out with a new concept for 18 to 25-year-olds. That's literally like a prep school. That's an alternative to universities where it's, I want to be the #1 prep school in the world to prepare them to perform. So financial intelligence would be a part of that equation, right? If you got a physical quotient, spiritual quotient, social intelligence, priority intelligence, financial intelligence, these will all be things to prepare young people in the future. And the truth is, if you include the whole family, Dave, the retention rates go through the roof when we're coaching the parents and the kids, how long they stay with us, how valuable it is to them. And so that's been a big concept.
Yeah. Well, could you read off that list? I think you called it remarkable boldness. What was that list again?
Yeah. When you look at the habits of the top 1% of performers: remarkable boldness, intrinsic motivation, connection and family, grit and resilience, ability to lock in and see something through to its conclusion. Those are 5 habits of the top 1% of performers. And that would be true of mortgage originators, real estate agents, police officers. I didn't say 1% of money earners, although there would be a correlation there. These are habits of top performers at what they do for a living.
Love that. Man, this has been awesome. So you said you were going to be doing a keynote at an event. What are you doing from the stage right now? What are the topics you're covering when a lender brings you in at their sales rally?
#1 topic, which is why I'm doing it this Thursday in Dallas, is Pray Drive. So they purchased 600 copies of my new book, Flip the Switch, which goes into the psychology of Pray Drive, how we activate it, which would be ideal for managers, branch managers, leaders, people that are trying to get their team to another level. So I do a lot of keynotes for mortgage companies, but also do a lot of coaching for companies where they bring me in. I may put them on a 90-day cycle, maybe a 6-month cycle. And we typically tackle components of the selling cycle: Pray Drive, explanation of value, generation of leads, follow-up and conversion, engagement before, during, and after the sale, and then person of interest, how they become known. That would be the cycle I coach people through.
Love it, man. So if anybody wanted to learn more or have you come out and speak at one of their upcoming events, where would they go?
CoachBurt.com.
CoachBurt.com. And if they were to follow you on social media, what would be the place to get the best of you on social?
I think Instagram is a great place. YouTube, we put out, I think tons of videos on YouTube. So Coach Michael Burt, we put out a lot of content daily, shorts, everything that you can imagine. So we take a lot of the coaching and put it there. So that'd be a good place to start as well.
So Instagram, YouTube, awesome. Well, hey man, I have loved this first interview. Anyone listening to this, we'll put links down below. Make sure you get Flip the Switch. I got that right. Flip the Switch with Coach Michael Burt. Make sure you are incredibly clear and passionate about what you're doing in the mortgage business right now. Whenever it's difficult, it's time to go deep on your why, you know, and I push everybody, have a for-profit why, you know, a selfish why, and then you know what, have a purpose why, have something that really helps mankind, helps your local community, something that connects your heart to your mission. You get that selfish why and that purpose why, and you get that right, you get that personal, and nothing can stop you. Anyways, guys, this is a wrap. Hope everyone who's watching this live got some value. And Coach, looking forward to our next conversation, brother.
Boom. Thank you, brother.
Boom. All right. Take care, everybody.